Okay, so we're working on the card backs and we're looking at Dan's. We're talking about color hierarchy and how to use, we just made the suggestion of running that advanced layer styles to do more of this look. So I think that's what Dan's gonna try next, right? So that would be my recommendation next, to try to get the eye to pop a lot more. And so a suggestion was made to go more yellow here and then a different color here. So let's see how that goes. I think you're at this place that everybody kind of should be at, and hopefully kind of gets somewhere today where you have all your colors there. So now the next stage is to play, to push and pull color hierarchy, and to make sure that we have contrast checking. So on the website, under the identity deck technical, there's the color of the cards, and we're looking for this contrast check. Actually, it's universal color for the cards down here, 3:1 color ratio. So where you have to decide, Dan, what is the most important visual for you on your card set in order to choose a 3:1 ratio somewhere. And yours doesn't have the flesh tone like we've been talking about. So where would your contrast ratio be the most important to keep?
I'd say probably somewhere around the eye.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And then, so we talked about running a stroke, or the drop shadow idea that you're going to do with the properties and the filters that you click on somewhere. It's like behind here, but so I think you have probably 5 things to bring attention to. If you make this number 1, the eye, because that's the thing you like the most, right, for identity. And then you have these 4 suits. You have the diamond, the heart, the spade, and the club. And each of those should stand out, but be secondary to the eye. And they need to stand out and be separate from each other. So that's your challenge today. I think it's a big challenge, but I think you've got it and you understand the process technically. So yeah, do you have any questions, Dan, or need help technically with that?
Nope, it's making good sense.
Okay, all right, cool. We'll look forward to seeing that. All right, so moving forward, do we have Ava here today? Okay, so Ava's not here today. Looking forward to seeing how Ava's color is coming along, and perhaps Ava will listen in on this recording. So Ava does have the color set on here. Does anybody, what do we think of the way it's coming together? Thumbs up from Sean. I had asked Ava to play with that background color and just put the color in there. And I think that that's functioning really well. And we had just talked with you, Dan, about having like the eye stand out. And I think that's happening for Ava because it's high contrast, right? So it's going to be a higher contrast to here. If I were to run the contrast picker ratio thing, it would, these two would be much more than 3:1. And that's why it's standing out. So really nice, Ava. Just probably start filling in these people, which I think you already had in one of your images. So when we had worked before. And I'm wondering if you're going to have anything in the text boxes. Text speech bubbles. Does anybody want that, or should they be blank? Are they just ideas and chatty? Or maybe sometimes we put like little lines to make it look like.
Maybe question marks and excitements.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. Thanks, Erica. Yeah, I think I'm wondering if there should be something. Sometimes we do see the blanks. Another way to do it is to have just the speech bubbles themselves be colors. So like this one be orange and this next one be purple, like come from the colors of who they are. Maybe one of the reasons why I feel like they need something in them is because they're white, and the white ones typically have content in them. So what do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I'm thinking like all these ideas that we're jumping around here with stuff. I think they're all, either one of them would be good ideas. Like having something in there, I think would add to it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's coming along really well. Ava, we look forward to seeing the next phase of what you're working on. So Shiley, moving forward to your piece. Awesome. You have the snowflake running now, and that's functioning really well. And you have these beautiful new additions here, Shiley. So tell us about the card. We haven't heard the pitch in a while, so why don't you tell us about the 4 characters?
So I have the older woman at the top. I have her. She's the oldest, and then I have the kid with I forgot the name of the skin thing. She's the youngest.
But in the hearts, right, right.
I don't know what you're asking me. I'm sorry.
We're just wondering about I just wanted to hear your concept again. Right, so you have your 4 people, and it's just a matter of now running the highlights probably. Are you going to do cell shading highlights, or do you want to do gradients?
I think I might work with both because I don't know what would work the best for my art.
Yeah, so I would always start with a cell shading, and then you can turn cell shading into gradients. So if we start to think about working at levels, so you're at the level where you already did the drawing and now you're doing the fills, and then the next step would be to do the cell shading. And if you want it to go further, then you can run the gradients. So just kind of keep on doing these levels of revisions, and that's the way it will function. Are you planning on having mouths on these characters too? You have it on the older person. I know your internet is not functioning that well, but that might be a suggestion that I would have, is to run the mouths and some more pupils in there. What do the rest of you think? Erica, do you have some ideas about that suggestion for Shiley?
Not offhand, no.
What about you, Casey?
Might be interesting to have a gradient on the snowflake, like have it go from blue to white, like radial.
So blue in the middle, are you thinking, and then go to white, kind of fade out, or the other direction?
I think the other way, like
Blue
gets
on
white
the
in the
outside to
center.
white in the center. That'd be beautiful. It would feel crystalline. Yeah. And I think I showed you, and I think you're running it. You've got a gradient on the snowflake line itself. So you've got dark to light. What do you all think about the way that that's functioning there for Shiley? Dan, what do you think? You're kind of doing some of that look on your own, I think, right?
Yeah, and yeah, I don't know about it, because there's like the one side where it's got like on the outside of the snowflake, it's got the big bold lines that are there, and then on the other side there's not, that isn't over there, so it's no, it's just
It
for
feels
me.
like it goes away.
Yeah.
So I think you probably have to decide where you want subtlety and where you don't. And I think Casey's idea of running darker blue, like this kind of cyan blue, higher contrast to the white, to white on the inside, that you can play with some color shifts on the outside. So you're at a really good stage right now where you just kind of have blocked in the color. And so the next step is to start to think about how to use these colors to make us look at the most important thing. And then make us look there by having arrows to it, essentially by highest contrast. And I think right now your highest contrast is the shapes. So that's functioning because we want to look at the shapes. Do you all think that that's important? in Shiley's piece. We're seeing nods there. So yeah. Okay, Shiley, if you have any questions technically, you can ask them later. Hope your internet gets better, but this recording's for you.
Okay,
right.
thank you.
Okay. Did you have any comments? Did you have any questions for us?
No,
Okay.
thank you for all the feedback.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, so Casey, wow, you've got your full colors, probably your last panel, right? So how's it coming for you, Casey?
It's going well. I still have some more things to do, but this is the basics of the color.
It looks beautiful. So it does look like to me you used a symbol process, or at least copied and paste. What was your method to get the duplicated tree?
I'm still copying and pasting it because I wanted to mess around with lines and stuff. I still need to do that because I want the thing to be so thin up on the second thing. So I still need to work on that.
Okay. Did you use the symbol method for the leaves?
No, not really.
Okay. It's important to know how to use that technique, because that's what we use in the industry, and that's what we would have done here. And it would make things much simpler for you in the future if you do that. So I want you to just be aware that you will have to do it when you get into animating, and this was supposed to be practice for that. So maybe you can try to do it on something in the future, although it looks like you've already kind of done all of your assets. So symbols are cool. Try them sometime. They're really good. The colors here are functioning really beautifully right now in their blocks. It looks like you have, you are running a gradient, huh, of this orange to yellow.
Yeah, I wanted to try it. I might still mess around with it some.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. Now you have your black mask. Is this actually the mask also? This piece right here?
I have a solid rectangle for the orange, but you can still see like the template underneath it. And I don't really know how to not do that.
Yeah, so you would eyeball off the templates, and they'll still be there that you can turn on and off and check it. But essentially this shape won't be there. It will run like a full gradient out to the outside. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what I want.
So on the layer, I don't see that template part right here in your layers, but wherever it says template or mask, this is called the mask, and this is art goes inside here or something like that is the title of it. These eyeballs will turn things off, and then you'll be able to see it in its fullness. All of you should have color that goes to the outside and even is outside of this black edge, because that's where it needs to bleed to. The bleed would go all the way to here, which means there's a potential that the cut could even go all the way to here, and that's why we need image all the way there. So do you have image underneath there, Casey?
I think I'll have to extend some things once I get rid of it.
Since it's just a, well, you don't get rid of it, you just turn it off.
Yeah,
so you can turn it on and off, yeah. So just make sure everybody, while we're talking about it, think about, do you have your background color going all the way out to the outside? And we should even see it even on the outside here. You can hit this crop button to crop down to it, and it would crop, my file should be set up to be able to crop to here. Should be what it does. I'm not sure if it is fully set up like that. So what's your next step? Casey, you've got all your color there. So it almost in a way looks finished. So the next step, are you going to do cell shading? Are you going to run gradients? Anything else?
And I'm going to decide how I want to do the shading still. And I still need to do some details on the clothing, because they have like patterns on some of their clothing that I need to do.
Nice, nice. So for the patterns, do you, there was some questions back and forth about the masking, and if you're going to do patterns, are I want everybody just to be aware that like people had some issues with this piece, and I did some notes of clarity. But then I also thought that this is actually probably what everybody was hoping for. And I had sent you to this one, so I think I don't remember who it was that had the textures and the shape.
It
I
was
think
me.
it was you, Erica, right? So
Yeah.
these tutorials are the ones that do textures inside of shapes. So it might be these ones that you really need. Did you see that?
No, we went over it in class and I ended up getting it.
Okay, let me just put this link in the chat for anybody who needs it. So I think Casey, your piece, you're at an amazing stage right now where all the color is there. So next you just have to make those decisions about cell shading, gradients, and what next. So that's your goal today, okay? Do you have any questions, Casey, moving forward?
Not right now.
Cool. Okay, good work. All right, let's see. So Erica, we just talked about doing that color, that filter. It's not a filter, but kind of a paste into of your pattern. Did you end up accomplishing that?
Yeah, I think I have a version of it in there. Yeah.
Ooh, okay, I'm gonna make this bigger so we can see it. When everybody posts your pieces in the future, you probably can just crop down to the final one because you're all working well in your set. So I'm just making it bigger so we can see it now. So this is lovely, good job. So this, you did a mask in order to get the wave, it says. So good. So this is that's the function of it. It looks beautiful.
Mhm. And I'm just sort of like plopping in colors right now and figuring out what works where.
Mhm.
I'm gonna play around with the value of it once I get all the colors where I want them to be. So
Yeah, that's exactly the process to use. So I love seeing that you've just put all blue in here. So eventually maybe each one of these lines is a little bit of a shift of blue or a little bit of a gradient of blue or something. Is that your plan? Mhm.
Yeah, sort of like mixing it up as it goes along.
Gorgeous. So yeah, just keep dumping your colors, and then after you dump, then we can push and pull, and then maybe do some cell shading on this. But right now, your color contrast works.
I was thinking, and I was like, I don't think a gradient would look good in this just because it just doesn't seem right. But cell shading, I think, will work better, and I think it actually works a lot better because Japan is known for like a bunch of animation stuff, including cell shading. So I thought it'd be cool.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like this is the first time that I'm starting to see these art tools on here, which is going to be really cool. And it seems like those might be higher contrast too once you do get them in there. So in order to do that, like you would have these kind of blackish, right? And then maybe this is quite light behind there. And then it kind of can go to darker on these things maybe.
Yep.
It's going to be beautiful. Good job. So yeah, just move forward. And I would say maybe you want to use advanced layer styles too to push and pull the colors. Are these waves on different layers, or did you do all the waves on one layer?
I did all the waves on one layer. Essentially what I did was I did all the background stuff in one layer because I knew that most of it would be one color. Or well, at least all the wave stuff would be in one color. And the clothes are, I believe, are in a different one. If not, I can shift them around, no problem. And I think the face that I'm gonna sort of bring color to as well is on a different one too.
So if they're all on one layer, you can just like do dumps to make the changes.
Yeah, I can do that. I've also been playing around recently in Bill's class with advanced layering stuff. So
cool. So you're all aware of it. So because you're doing the Aesop's Fable thing then, Erica?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that comes together. And then is that the last one in our group today? Did we miss anybody? I think we got you all. So it's coming on 1:30. My other team is starting to roll in. So as you work today, things to really check out, like we're working on essentially the color of your cards. And you've already brought in your color schemes. Make sure that those swatches are added into there so that you know how that's done. This is the CLR color swatch for the actual universal color if you haven't done that yet. You can keep on shifting your line for your cards too, thick to thin. And for some of you, I'd recommended having some of the gradients to push the outside. And you do that by having advanced layer styles and then doing a filter. Just one more point, please make sure that you're keeping organized in your file. This video goes over file organization. Layering thing is kind of the key to that. Anything that you want to have different kind of color shifts, you can cut and paste it onto a new layer. So for example, in the piece that we just saw, on those waves, if you wanted the waves to be pushed and pulled in space a little bit, I would cut and then make a new layer and then paste in place with it, which is Command or Control Shift V. That's the shortcut for it, to paste in place and then push and pull it a little bit instead of always dumping, because I think it's a little bit faster. This is the cell shading demo. You should have probably already gone through the basics in Animate. And a lot of these other things are extra and optional. So at this point, you're just kind of changing and shifting your colors. And everybody's doing fantastic. So I'll give you about an hour to work, and then we will come back and come back from the group and see where we're at, okay? So any questions though before I move forward?